I remember I told my grandma, like, he's in the system, he doesn't have anyone, like, I would love for him to be able to come over. And at this point, we were like crushing on each other, but we weren't official.
Mhm.
And I had invited him over to my grandma's house so that he didn't feel alone, so that he felt like that there were still people that care, people with good hearts, and that, he was doing a good thing.
Mhm.
So, a little bit of backstory of how I was kind of viewing him, what his story was like. Then we get into that night, like I said, when we were in the hotel, and it was all nice with the whole cake and stuff. But then things kind of went left.
Mhm.
Um, he, at that time, I knew that he was consuming weed,
Mhm.
and that was it. Later on is when I start realizing certain things aren't what they appear to be. But at that point, that's what I thought. That's all he ingested. And at that time, I had still never touched weed. I didn't like the smell of it. To me, it smelled like skunk. It was the nastiest thing ever. I remember he had his car, and like I said, like sometimes he would drop me off at my mom's, or he would pick me up, da da da. And I had rules. If you're gonna smoke and then pick me up, air this car out. If
Mhm.
I'm gonna be in your car, don't smoke because I don't like the smell of it or have it in the car. Like I had those things that I didn't want him doing around me. When we were at the hotel, I remember I don't the situation changed so fast. It went from an emotional, I appreciate you, thank you for making me feel special, blah blah blah, blah, best birthday ever,
Mhm.
to an argument happening. And all I remember, again, maybe my brain is blocking that,
Mhm.
but I remember, I don't know if I went to the restroom. The thing was, I lost sight of him. I was doing something. I came back into the room, and we're getting into it. All I remember is being on the floor of the hotel room and him standing over me and yelling. And at that moment, I had gotten, well, what is the first flashback of like mom?
Mhm.
I had always said, like, I will never ever put myself in a position that my mom was in. I will never do the things that my mom did because I saw the effects, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But at that moment, like, I had remembered, it was like I was seeing myself and him in like a third person point of view. And I got a flashback of mom on the floor and Benny, or like dad, like hovering over her. And I was like, in that moment, it was a second, but it was a second of realization of like, fuck, like I'm in the same place, like literally the same place, like the same position I'm in right now, mom was in,
Mhm.
physically, emotionally, mentally. Like, I remember I went into the restroom and I was scared. Like, this was the first time that I had seen any sort of aggression.
Mhm.
Like I said, I don't know if I was on the floor because I tripped or something, or if it was that he had put his hands. That part went blank. All I
Mhm.
remember is the realization. But I remember I was very scared. I hid in the restroom, and I remember he would be like we're gonna talk about this. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I never meant to do it. Like I said, I don't know if it was he had hit me or if it was something that he said. But like I said, I was on the floor.
Mhm.
I know I'm a clumsy person, but I don't really trip if there's nothing there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I put two and two together and what he's saying, but I don't want to say for sure because, like I said, I don't remember. I come out of the restroom. Somehow, Sweet talks me and tells me, like, he brings up his story about his dad
Mhm.
and how his dad was abusive to his mom and that he would never, ever, 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 ever purposely try to make me feel that way again. To make things more relaxing, comfortable, whatever for him. So I thought at that moment he had rolled a joint or a wood or something. He had rolled something, basically weed, and that was my first time ingesting. He didn't know that though. I kind of made it seem as if like, oh, I had tried it before because I
Mhm.
wanted to feel more like connected to him in
Okay.
that moment because of the fear. Like I wanted the comfort, and like I said, like I didn't like him smoking around me.
Mhm.
So he would 9 times out of 10 like step outside. Oh, he's having nightmares. He would oftentimes like step outside or go to his car and smoke. But I wanted to be close to him because I was coming from that place of fear.
Okay.
So boom, he lights it. We start smoking, and before I lose conscience, I remember him smiling, sitting on like the hotel's like TV stand, and he was like, in Spanish, he was like, "Y si te robo," which translates to like, "and if I like kidnap you or if I rob you." And
Which is
in
meant to sound
Mexico,
more romantic.
in
Like,
Spanish,
yeah, it's
yeah,
meant to sound more romantic in Spanish.
but in Mexico or in like that, but yeah, I would say Mexico, there is a
Tradition.
terrible
Oh, yeah.
tradition of boys basically kidnapping their girlfriends, going, taking them, kidnapping them, taking them wherever they get married, and 9 times out of 10 they don't come back until the girl is pregnant, and now it's a big announcement, and I robbed your daughter and now she's pregnant, but she's also married,
It's
so
supposed to
she's
be
fine.
like a Romeo and Juliet without the
Mhm.
dying
Mhm.
aspect of it.
And you come back all happy and
Yes.
with the baby, like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So when
So
he
he
said
tells you that.
that, I just like I remember he chuckled, and I think I laughed or said something, and then I lost conscience. I don't remember.
Mm.
Um, fast forward. I wake up in a motel. I don't know where we're at. I know that's not the same hotel. I know. At that point, I wake up and I can't move. I'm in a mummy wrap. I was wrapped like a mummy with
Okay.
the blanket. Um, and I was just so confused. Like I didn't know what was going on. He comes out of the restroom, and I'm like I said, like I was kind of like tucked, and he was like, "Oh, like your mom's been texting you. Like you
Mhm.
need to respond. You need to say something. Tell them that you're with me, so that they don't like get upset." And I was like, "Where are we? Where are we?" It was like midnight, and he was like, "We're in Big Bear." I was like, "What do you mean we're in Big Bear?" He's like, "Yeah, we're in Big Bear." He's like, "You need to respond." So I don't know what, I honestly don't remember. I don't know if I texted you, the foster mom, or my mom, but I had texted someone
Mhm.
basically saying like I was okay, that I wasn't gonna answer, something along those lines. Whatever it is that he told me to text is what I texted.
Yeah. This is where like I want to throw in what Wendy's telling you what happened during the time that she got high with him and then ended up in Big Bear. From
Mm-hmm.
Mobile to Big Bear.
No,
Uh
from Eastville,
oh, from Eastville to
Big
Big
Bear.
Bear. And it was during that time that while this whole situation is happening, I had gotten ready. It was a normal day. I was working for DoorDash at the time because it was again post COVID. So DoorDash was still a little bit popular like to get through to pay my bills. I get a call from mom. She's freaking out on the other end, telling me that you're missing, that no one's heard from you, that the foster parent told her that you had told the foster mom that you guys were going to come down and spend the night at mom's house, and she was basically freaking out telling me that that never happened, that she was working the night before. She doesn't understand why you would tell her, the foster mom, that you were spending the night, with
Mm-hmm.
him down here. I remember feeling my heart completely drop because I just could, like, all I heard was you're missing.
Yeah.
And so I didn't go to work that day. I drove down from Pomona to Anaheim, and like I'm going to mom, and I had never met this man, and I was so confused because I remember asking mom like, "Well, where does he live?" And I swear to you, sister, I felt like I was that 7-year old, that 10-year old, where Mom's living her best life, and the one who stepped into the adult shoes was once again myself. And I remember asking her, okay, well, what kind of car does he drive? She could not give me an answer. Well, where does he live, Mom? Could not give me an answer. I felt so frustrated in that moment. Like, I literally wanted to shake Mom right then and there. If she was a baby, I would have given her baby shaking syndrome.
Oh
Like,
no.
it's not something to joke about, but I wanted to shake that woman so hard and just be like, why can't you tell me anything about this man?
Mhm.
Like, why can't you tell me where he lives? Like, what's his full name? Why can't you tell me, like, what kind of car he drives? How old he is? Why can't you tell me any of these basic, simple questions if we were to go and make a police report that they would ask us?
Mhm.
And she could not give me a simple answer. I turned into an FBI agent. We talked about this last time, last
Mhm.
episode, that without the credentials, without the badge, yeah, I don't need the badge or the credentials either. I turned into an FBI. Mom remembered a specific friend from your group, from your Instagram that you were really close to.
Was it K?
Maybe it was a boy and a girl.
Yeah, it was
Um,
K and my
and
girl best
A,
friend.
yeah.
Mhm. A.
And so I go on your Instagram. I'm searching through these girls. I find because she had described she's a really pretty girl. Um,
Tall.
she looks, yeah, tall. And she looks like a little doll, and her name starts with an A. And she had told me the full name.
Mhm.
Found the girl, messaged the girl, asked her if she'd heard from you. She hadn't heard from you. Messaged one of your other friends. He hadn't heard from you.
Mhm.
It was just a lot of digging on my end. I had Carlos go to the neighbor's house and basically ask, like, if they had gotten, because they had cameras outside.
Mhm.
So I'd ask Carlos to basically go and see if he could pull any footage to
Mhm.
see if we could
The
get,
plates.
yeah, the plates or any, like, even the model of the car, whatever
Mhm.
the car would look like. Send him on his way. I'm basically doing a deep dive. We had spent all afternoon. At some point I created posters.
But that was the afternoon, right? Cuz I went it was his birthday, and then it was that night where I wasn't where I never responded
No,
to.
it wasn't that night. We went a whole 24 hours without hearing from you. It
Yeah,
was the
which
morning
was
after when you woke up in Big Bear, I'm assuming.
that day is when you guys had came out with the missing pamphlets and all that, right?
Yes,
Mhm.
I'm assuming
So you
yes.
guys took action the morning of, right?
Yes.
Cuz I never
Yeah.
got back to Dahlia at night, and then that's when Dahlia hit mom up,
Yep.
and then all that was happening at
Yes.
night, and then the next morning it followed. Okay.
Yes. So
So while I was barely waking up, they
this was all
were
taking place.
they were already like asking questions. Daisy was sending my our stepdad to check the cameras and stuff like that, just for a better timeline of where Daisy's talking about and then what day that I was speaking about.
Yeah.
So then the
So
next day in the morning, that's when you guys were going out. And first of all, I have something to say. If I ever die or go missing again, don't ever. I low key feel like it was a tactic to get me out from under the rocks, and y'all hit it. Don't ever use a ugly picture of me again on a missing thing.
well, okay, that was literally
Y'all
the
had
most. Wait,
pictures.
no, that was the most.
Mm-mm.
Give that one to Mom. Okay, don't come through. I was the one who created that poster. Okay, give that stone to Mom because
That was so ugly. Like,
she that was the only picture that she had recent of you. The only picture that she had recent of you, and the only picture that we had of him.
yeah, I don't care about him, but me, I look crazy. I look crazy. And the fact that they were going to my job, they were dropping these papers off. Like, I had people from my school, yeah, screenshotting and sharing. No, I was that girl at school, and that picture was not giving that girl. It was giving something else terrible. It was giving. Never mind. Yeah, just it wasn't. Yeah, y'all did me dirty, but I guess y'all were trying to help your girl out. So you guys were passing out the missing report.
Yeah, we were spreading it on social media. And again, I'm gonna be very honest. I very much struggled a lot with mom during the time that you were missing. I just, like I said, if I wanted to shake that woman to her core because I felt, again, I was the adult and she was the child, and she was not helping whatsoever. So,
So
you,
while that was
yeah.
happening with her, and like I said, the morning of when she's doing all of this, I had woken up in Big Bear. Really, it wasn't the morning of. It was there was still dark outside,
Hmm.
but I knew like the morning, like the sunrise was coming. Um, yeah, he tells me to reach out. Like I said, I don't remember who I ended up texting, if it was my foster mom, my mom, or my sister. But I had sent some BS message that he wanted me to send. After that, he was very, very paranoid. He was like, I used my ID. Oh, and at that time, I think he had seen the missing thing on Facebook. And he was like, what the fuck? He's like, your family's using my face, my pictures, like, they don't know. So after that, he got very paranoid, and he started he was like, no, we have to check out, like, I used my ID for this, for the motel, like, we have to go. So at that point, I was low-key feeling like Bonnie and Clyde. I was like, he
Okay.
took me.
Wow. Glad you were feeling like Bonnie and Clyde.
But like I said, there was some point after, and I'll get to exactly when I started feeling that fear take over.
Hmm.
But I was like, I, as much as foster parents would sit there and say I'm a terrible child and I act up, and I really wasn't. I never snuck out. I never had a boy over my house. I never, none of that. So to me, it was like that was my first time being rebellious, and